All right, well, welcome everyone to Newman Portal Symposium. This is our fourth such event, and we have for our first session today, Michael Foster speaking about 19th and 20th century Ottoman pocket gold balances. I know we have a few people from the International Association of Scale Collectors, so welcome. And just to let everyone know, video from these events will be available in 2 to 3 weeks following the end of the symposium, and we will send out a notice when the video is available. So with that, I will turn it over to you, Michael. Thanks for joining today.
Thank you. So to the audience, my name is Mike Foster. I'm a member of the ISASC, the International Society of Antique Scale Collectors. I collect and write ebooks on gold and silver coin scales, rockers, and balances. In my talk today, I'm going to introduce you to the Ottoman pocket gold balance that eliminates the need for test weights when testing gold coins in circulation in the Ottoman Empire and around the Mediterranean and Europe in the 19th and 20th century. Are any of the audience familiar with gold coin balances? If you are, please raise your hand so that they can tell me later how many people might have been. On the following slides are the length and width of the Ottoman gold balances that I'm presenting in centimeters. They're called pocket balances because they were typically under 4 inches or 10 centimeters in length and 1 inch or 2.5 centimeters in width. So they're pocket size scales. The main time frame of interest for this talk is the period of the dissolution of the Ottoman Empire. However, on the wrong slide, sorry. Some background on the Ottoman Empire. It was created by the Turkish tribes in Anatolia and grew to be one of the most powerful states in the world during the 15th and 16th centuries. The Ottoman period spanned more than 600 years and came to an end only in 1924 when it was replaced by the Turkish Republic and various successor states in Southeastern Europe and the Mid-East. The term Ottoman is a dynastic appellation derived from Osman I, the nomadic Turkman chief who founded both the dynasty and the empire at about 1300 AD. At its height, the empire encompassed most of southeastern Europe to the gates of Vienna and included present-day Hungary, the Balkan region, the 6 republics that were pre-1991 Yugoslavia, Greece, Bulgaria, Romania, parts of the Ukraine, southern and Caucasian Russia, Turkey, Armenia, portions of the Mideast now occupied by Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, Israel, Jordan, and Egypt, and North Africa as far west as Algeria, and large parts of the Arabian Peninsula. So the Ottoman Empire had, it was one of the major, let's call it trading states on the Mediterranean at the time. The main time frame of interest in looking at Ottoman pocket balances, pocket gold balances, is the period of what's called the period of dissolution of the Ottoman Empire, which took place from 1807 to what was left of the empire becoming the Turkish Republic in 1924. The coin collectors, this is just some of the coins that could be tested by an Ottoman pocket gold balance. Checking the weight of the gold coins at the time of purchase was easy with the pocket balances, which were carried by anyone who might use a gold coin at the end of the 19th and beginning of the 20th century. The Ottoman pocket balance tested Ottoman and European gold coins in Ottoman gold piastres, that was their unit of gold, without the need for test weights. The Latin Monetary Union, LMU, of 1865 standardized many of the European gold coins along the lines of the Napoleonic standard for gold francs. The Ottoman gold balances could test Ottoman 100, 50, and 25 gold piastres, Great Britain sovereigns and half sovereigns at 110 and 55 piastres, Austrian ducats valued at 51 piastres, and the Latin Monetary Union gold 20, 10, and 5 francs, lira, or drachmas, which were valued at 88, 44, and 22 piastres. Just a word or two on the on the Latin Monetary Union. It was formed in 1865, and it was basically to set a value of gold coins for interchangeability between the Latin Monetary Union countries. The initial members of the Latin Monetary Union included France, Belgium, Switzerland, and Italy in 1865, and Greece, which at the time was part of the Ottoman Empire. Austria, Hungary, and Spain joined the Latin Monetary Union soon after. So some countries like Britain, Holland, Denmark, Germany, Portugal, and portions of the Ottoman Empire never joined the LMU, but many minted gold coins that conformed to the Napoleonic standards. And this is mainly because of separate monetary agreements between the countries. Prior to Ataturk's script reform in 1928, then Ottoman Turkish was written in Arabic script using Arabic numerals, which are shown here with the European numeral above. After 1928, they were marked with European numerals like 44, 50, 51, 55, which represent the number of Turkish gold piastres the gold coin was worth, or what the weight of the gold in the coin was. Although it appears that modern European numerals were used as early as 1901 by some European market makers, as seen on brass balances, which you'll see later in the presentation, marked Paris 1901 and Paris 1905. Basically, identical balances are found by makers that have either Arabic numerals or European numerals on the beam. And an example of these types of balances were made by Mustafa Baruji. This is a typical cruciform balance made to test gold coins in the range of 44 to 55 piastres on the light arm and 88 to 110 piastres on the heavy arm. When the gold coin is placed in its proper location, it should either remain in the balance position or slide slowly and fall off, which indicates that the coin is of the right weight or a little above. Note the circular lead plugs that adjust the test weight. There's the lead plugs. This is a plug that's missing. So in fact, this particular balance can't do its proper job properly, but that's because the little lead balance has fallen out. It would normally be an integral part of the scale and not fall out. Okay. So typical panels on these cruciform balances are shown looking at the middle part. The heavy arm would have 110 piasters, or 100 piasters, or 88. And the lighter arm would be testing 55, 50, 51, or 40 piasters. So to sort of prove that these actually can work, I took one of the scales that I own, and I'll show a little bit later, and I set it up to test. And so on the left, you can see there it's just standing there more or less level. This is a 9-coin balance, so I could test all the major gold coins in circulation in the Ottoman Empire and most of Europe. And on the right, there is a 20 gold franc test weight made at the time of Napoleon, and it shows between the one on the left and the one on the right with the test weight, you can see that the balance arm has gone fairly horizontal, which means that that test weight is 20 francs. This is another one, but instead of using a 20 franc test coin weight, I've used a 10 franc test coin weight, again, Napoleonic era, placed on the 44 piaster platter. And the test weight is correct because you see the left is more or less horizontal, and the right has a 10 franc test weight in the 44 piaster position. And you can see that the weight is heavy enough to deflect the arm. And the test, that basically means that the that test weight of 10 francs is at least 44 piasters. Next, I'm going to talk a little about some of the materials that were used in the making of these Ottoman pocket balances. Woods like ebony, mahogany, olive, walnut, boxwood. Metals like brass and nickel alloy, which was quite popular at the time. Stone like slate. Bone like ivory or cow bone, bovine. And bone and brass were all used in making Ottoman pocket balances. And now I'm going to show you some with almost all those materials. The first is a decorative brass. You can see some of the flower decorations and twig decorations. It's made for testing 6 coins, the 44, 51, 55 piaster. Most of those are half gold. And then it can also test the full gold coins at 88, 100, and 110 piasters. That scale is 8.8 by 1.5. So to get this right, it's about that size. Definitely pocket material. This is another balance. This one is made with nickel alloy sheets, which are riveted together. Okay. It has two labels on the beam at the bottom over come on here, which is blown up to the right, and this one here, which is blown up to the left. The inscription is worn out and not readable. Only one letter is readable, and that's an N on the top left. This is an interesting balance because the nickel alloy sheets riveted together is a balance from the estate of King Farouk of Egypt. The beloved king, as he would like to be known, Farouk I was the 10th ruler of Egypt from the Muhammad Ali dynasty and the penultimate king of Egypt and the Sudan. Succeeded by his father. He succeeded his father Fouad in 1936, and his full title was His Majesty Farouk I, by the grace of God, King of Egypt and the Sudan. This is a bone. Actually, this one is ivory. Bone is white, but it's not pure white usually. It usually has little brown striations or flecks in it. But this is one that's with the European markings, but no maker mark. This is a bit unusual because it's a pocket balance, and the wood is ebony, and it's very decorative, as you can see. They haven't even reduced its decorativeness by putting a label of any kind on it. They've just got a lot of decoration. This is another wood made Ottoman pocket scale. This one is mahogany, and the panel right here is marked Servet Takrotohilax. Takrotohilax has been spelled a number of different ways, but it's a main street in Istanbul where, as you'll see later, there are at any given time 10 to 15 pocket balance makers. So, and I believe there's still some there in modern Istanbul. This is a bone and brass scale. It's basically by Muhammad Taraksilar, a different spelling, but the same street. And this one has the numbers 232, which is the street number on Taraksilar Street of Muhammad and Taraksilar workshop. Okay. But this is a fairly typical. It's brass on one end. It's bone with the Ottoman markings. This is an unusual one. It's made out of slate. So it's basically carved slate. I don't know how I'm doing for time. This one is wood again. It's marked Mustafa Baruji in Ottoman and European script. And the European script is here. And this Arabic script translate as Mustafa Baruji. The platters are marked with European numbers, and it has a 107 in European numerals right here. And that's because Mustafa Baruji's workshop was at 107 Taraksilar Street in Lisbon. Not Lisbon, sorry, in well, what was Constantinople and became, and I've lost it. And now it's about to get a little bit more on the strange side, and this is where I don't read Syrian, Turkish, Arabic. I wish I did, but I have a very good friend that does, and he has translated most of the Arabic and Ottoman script. If you look at the top three pictures, it says it says Mustafa Zeki, and where it says CA below, that says Mustafa Zeki as well, and the one beside it says Mustafa Zeki, but that one is in a much coarser Arabic script that was used later. So it went from nice fine engraving to much much less nice to look at. The scale below is European labeled Omar Lufti and Takaraji, another spelling of the name of the street. And the Ottoman script reads TRAQJI. That's Ottoman Turkish. And it translates as, in French as peigner, but in English as to comb. A lot of the Ottoman scales were considered to be ways to comb out the counterfeit coins. Okay, so they would think nothing of calling it a comb rather than a balance or a gold tester or whatever. They just call it a comb, and they would use it to sort out bad stuff, so that prevent them, the user, owner, from taking it as a good coin. This next one is a bit of an, my friend got working on it, and we pieced together, now it looks like a fairly harmless nickel alloy with two platters, and there are three sets of Arabic script in the circles on the pads. The first coin platter, oops, at the top of your screen has the words AFRNJI, Ifranji in Arab. The word used since the Crusades to designate the Franks or the Europeans in general. The word can be used as a noun or an adjective, but it says that this scale was suitable for the Franks to use. On the second platter, this is a bit surprising because it translates as B or P, INTUA, which could mean Binto or Pinto, but it has no meaning in Arabic. It looks like Arabic script, but it doesn't mean anything. So that was a bit of a headache. The last one on the bottom, which clearly looks just like chicken scratchings, it is really quite interesting, because I'm just going to cut to the chase. What's written on it is the work of or made by Yusuf Saba. Then there's a separation mark, which they use to kind of do, it's like a period, but it's not a period. And then it says Elias Hamui. Hamui means from the town of Hama, which is located north of modern day Syria, Damascus. And then the last word is Safar, and with the 31. And so Safar 31 in the Hijri Arabic calendar, it means 1331 or 1231 in their calendar, or 1913 to 1816 to 1913 in our modern calendar. the Austrian coin is that Constantinople, sorry, the Ottoman Turks laid siege to Vienna in Austria, and for an extended period of time. And the Viennese were holding out because they were hoping that the Pope would come and bail them out. Okay, because Ottoman was basically a Muslim country by and large. This is one that again is interesting because, whoops, because there we go, because it has both the European text on the left side towards the center and the Arabic script and the Arabic number of the street workshop. So this was made by Servet Taraxila, again, another of the Taraxila or Taraxila street. His workshop was at number 119 on Taraxila Street in Istanbul. Okay, yeah, that's just another, this one's definitely bone and not ivory. This is a wood Ottoman balance. Again, this was from Servet Textila. Yeah, okay, 119. I'm sorry, I repeated. This is a slightly unusual, but not really. It's the nickel alloy cruciform balance marked in Greek script. Greece was part of the Ottoman Empire for a period of time that they don't like to even think about. But this scale is marked with the name C. Geneapolatus 4 Benezou Street in Piraeus, which was a suburb of Athens. These platters are marked with European numerals. This is unusual. It's a non-standard brass. It's non-standard because if you look at the picture left, you'll see 22, 25, and then to the right, 44, 51, 55, 88, 100, and 110. This balance can test all 9 coins. Okay, so it's a bit unusual. This is actually the balance that was in the pictures with the greenish blue crazy glue or crazy putty holding this up so I could test the 20 franc and 10 franc coin weights on it. This one is very unusual and fairly rare. It's a non-standard cruciform balance, and it uses gauge slots to check the coin thickness, but not the diameter, and center the coin in the platter for more accurate testing. The Arabic number of gold piastres the coin is being tested to is marked next to the gauge slot. The user put the coin in the slot to be weighed, thus putting it where the coin center of gravity needed to sit for the best accuracy. The slot gauge also tested if the coin was too thick and therefore probably counterfeit. These characteristics make this Ottoman cruciform balance almost a counterfeit coin detector, testing weight and thickness, but not diameter. The Ottoman
It looks like Michael's video is for.
Interesting. Oh, did you lose some of the recording?
No, we're good.
Okay. The Arabic inscription reads from right to left, weight statement. And like the peigne, French to comb, and find the counterfeits, this was basically the weight statement. It's more accurate than a lot of the others, and the maker, inventor, decided to call it a weight statement, so that if you test on this thing and it says it's good, it's good. A lot of marketing in these things. This is a non-standard cruciform balance again, for testing 7 coins on 3 platter areas. Friend of mine picked this up at one of the coin shows, and the markings on the platters are and the design all work. So now there's another type of Ottoman balance called dial poise. And the way this one was used was, if you look at the left picture, you'll see some script, and you'll see European numerals and Ottoman script numerals on the circular poise. Basically, you turned that circular portion to get the right setting for the coin that you think you're getting in change. So once it's set on the right setting, you just hold it, and if the coin is the right coin, it'll stay nice and level. Okay. So this one, you set the weight, and then you put the weight on, and it tests. This is a similar one, but this is a slide poise. It's got 6 markings. The markings, by the way, are above the photo, and it's basically 110, 100, 88, 55, 51, and 44. And this one, you slide it to the correct number. So if you wanted to be testing for 88 piasters, you'd go with the 2 upside down V's, and you'd lift up the scale and put the coin on, or put the good coin being tested on. And if it stays level, again, then it's right. If you just set it to the wrong slide poise setting, the coin will either fall off rapidly or do absolutely nothing. This is a similar, slightly more complicated design. The Hakchadurian is an Armenian dealer, and his name is in the label and on the on this slide poise, and it can. This one can test up to 7 coins. This is another slide poise, except this one is decorative. It's actually bone and silver. The little circular bits are bits of silver. It has no Arabic or European markings. And the way that this one works is a known good coin is placed on one of the platters, and slide is adjusted so that the balance is nice and horizontal and all nicely balanced with the good coin on it, and the settings set. Then you can remove the good coin and put another coin to see if it's a good coin, if it stays balanced. If it doesn't, then there's a difference between the good coin and the one you're testing. This one's kind of interest to me because first, what triggered its being made was that from 1844 to 1923, there was a new gold coin in circulation in the Ottoman state. This is to test a lira, not a lire, as in Italy. This is to test a lira and a half lira that were being produced and in circulation. It's a well-known British manufacturer that makes this, or made it under contract. It was W.T. Avery Limited, makers in Birmingham, who were a large producer of sovereign and half-sovereign rocker balances. And the new gold coin is exactly 9/10 of a British sovereign. So this coin it was very easy to adapt the design that they were using, that Avery were using for their sovereign and half sovereign scale to take on and test the Ottoman lira and half lira. What's interesting about this little scale, the panel's marked Leon and then B0K, which is the little dot between the B and the K is a 0 in Ottoman script. This non-standard cruciform balance was made to test 43 piastres instead of the 44, and 87 piastres instead of 88. Basically, they were testing and could show a Latin monetary unit gold coin, like a 20 franc or a 10 franc gold, and it would give it a rate of 1 piastres of gold lower and pass. Okay, so it's somewhat unusual, and it could very well be from late, meaning close to the 1920s scale, because it would basically test a somewhat worn Latin monetary union gold and say it's good to about 1 piastres worth of gold less weight than the other scales that you've seen. I said I'd show you what the Paris 1901 and Paris 1905 scales look like, balances look like rather. These are two brass balances. The 1901 one has Arabic numerals marking on the coin platters, and the 1901 has European numerals, which is kind of counter to what is sort of understood. The reason that this is done like this is that it was probably, these balances were probably produced or had produced by an Armenian reseller who imported them into the Ottoman Empire. And the 1901 balance has European numerals on the platter. The 1905 has Arabic. little bit of knowledge. It was an Armenian tradition to send a relative to important trade cities to look after their business in that trade city. An Armenian would organize balances to be made to suit Ottoman user requirements and then send them to Istanbul for sale. They would be a special order and not for the French market. So you often see these scales with the warning that they're not guaranteed good. Oh, okay. Just for help, I put some references in so that if you see this presentation or go to the NNP and want to see where some of the stuff came from, it's right here. Special thanks to Mazan, who I can't thank enough, who's actually a French teacher, friend, and linguist, born in Syria and educated in Turkey and Paris. And he's my translator for the Ottoman and Turkish and Arabic script. And that winds up the presentation portion.
All right, thanks a lot, Michael. We do have a question, and any other questions, please submit via the chat. And again, as a reminder, the video from these presentations will be available in 2 to 3 weeks. Question was, since we have all these balances for testing coins, there must have been counterfeits. Do you have any idea how prevalent counterfeit coins were in actual use in trade?
Okay, so that's an interesting thing. Do you know what the Ottoman punishment is for counterfeits? I guess that's what they're asking. You could lose a hand or your life, depending on how bad. So having these types of scales during a transaction, there would be at least two of them out, one from the buyer and one from the seller, checking the coinage to make sure, right? And like I said, what's interesting, and the reason I emphasize it at the beginning is these balances don't need weights. There's no weights in them. They are manufactured to test to the right weight. Okay, so if somebody has tried to modify them, then they've tried to they've damaged it basically, and they can't be using it. So what's how do I say this? I got interested in coin scales, and I've written one ebook on them, on the British and European coin scales. And this is going to be my second one on coin scales that's being written. All these pictures and some of the text all come from the book. Okay, and I've named a few of the scale makers. A lot of them were from the Tarek Siller Street in Constantinople, Istanbul. But there were a lot of makers making these or having them made and importing them from the 1800s all the way up to the Turkish Republic being formed in 1924. So.
All right, so in response to the listeners' questions, obviously there must have been counterfeits, obviously, otherwise there would have been no need for scales. The same listener asks, what percentage of coins were counterfeits? Do we have any idea from this counterfeits that survive today?
No, I have, I'll tongue-in-cheek say I have concentrated my interests and my collections on scales to test for good.
Yeah.
There's a comment in one of the Turkish reference books that noted that the Ottoman Empire was only interested in testing gold from European countries, Latin Monetary Union, and any gold coming from east of their empire was not considered worth even testing. You just didn't accept it, full stop. Okay, so the answer is in parts of the Ottoman Empire there was very little because of the punishments, and everybody had a scale. But in other parts, to the western portions, dealing with gold that comes from places like Russia and China and India, they just wasn't trusted at all. It wasn't even worth testing.
Yeah. All right. Another listener asks, were there counterfeit balances?
That would be interesting. That's why I said there, yes, I'm sure there were some. Although, for instance, the picture that's currently on my screen of the with the gauge slots and that would take a lot of work to make one of those unless you had invented it and had the tools and had the setup to turn those out. It wouldn't be worth it. It's this totally separate thing, but there's a little coin scale that tests the double shilling and shilling, so it's silver coin tester, that was very prevalent in Australia at the time of the Great Depression. And it was made because the Chinese were turning out huge numbers of shillings and double 2 shilling and 1 shilling coins and flooding the market with them. And yes, they tried to make some testers that would give the impression that the coin was good, but wasn't. So.
All right. Any other questions? Please enter them in the chat. All right, I think that'll wrap it up. Well, Michael, thank you very much for presenting today. And
thank you. And I would just wanted to say thank you to those people who listened to the presentation, and it's appreciated.
all right, thanks a lot, Michael, and stay tuned for our next presentation at 10:30 Eastern time. Sorry, 11:30 Eastern time. On the Deloy Hansen collection. So thanks a lot, everyone, for attending.
Thank you.